Alright guys, welcome back for another review. This time we're going over to the west and we're going to be watching the Florida Mayhem take on the Houston Outlaws. Florida Mayhem had a match versus the London Spitfire in which they dropped a map. They didn't look super comfortable. I don't think the Mayhem have a great grasp on the meta right now. They are still trying to force a lot of this OGE Winston. They also play a lot of this Lucio and Moira, if I remember correctly. So that is questionable, I think, from them. Houston Outlaws, talking about questionable, they had their first match against the Atlanta Reign. We're not going to review that match. That match was just bad under the basis that Houston Outlaws just played the wrong heroes. They tried to play a lot of Dreamer on this Wrecking Ball and Winston. They tried to play Happy Genji, a bunch of different places. They just missed the meta, in my opinion, pretty hard. Fortunately, they have, and this is the redeeming quality of the Houston Outlaws that we have not seen from them in the past, was they went back to the drawing board. They didn't shit the bed and then just go on a downward spiral. They made the correct adjustments. They came in here, and I really like what they did with the meta. Jake says in his post-game interview of, like, Danny asked him, like, what did you guys do differently? And Jake is like, we just played Orisa. And honestly, I'm surprised we haven't seen more Orisa from these teams. Orisa feels like the go-to main tank. I don't know if it's always double shield with the Sigma next to it. Maybe you can play some Diva and all that kind of stuff, but I think there's a couple of teams that, the teams that have been playing more Orisa have generally been more successful, and we're going to see Outlaws follow that trend here today. So, hopefully, we do see a little bit of Genji show up, but for the most part, fortunately, we do not see that. Oh, Custa changed the title. Thank you. Let me change that real quick while we load into this game. Houston, Outlaws versus Mayhem. Whoa. Alright, we're here in time. So Mayhem is playing this rush style with the Winston. So they're doing a good job of, like, running at them with the Moira. That's their win condition, right? They're playing the Reaper, they need to run at them. Outlaws are playing a much slower style of a brawl. I would say Outlaws is playing brawl, Mayhem is playing rush. So what happens when these two collide is it becomes the major difference between the Baptiste versus the Moira. So the Moira, once she has Coalescence, the amount of raw healing that she can put out, but the Lamp is just so valuable on the other hand for the Outlaws. So the Lamp is going to be the big deciding factor, in my opinion, in these fights. And also the Outlaws want to play slower. They have more damage, they have more range with their double shields. They're not going to want to fight. So obviously the Lamp goes down, all of a sudden they lose their advantage, right? The Lamp goes down, doesn't get a ton of value, and from there, Mayhem should get the advantage. They also have Coalescence now, just because you can get Coalescence in 20 seconds because Moira is a fun and interactive hero. So yeah. Dreamer kind of slaps. Yeah, Dreamer's been good. It is interesting that we are seeing a lot of Dreamer and not a lot of Jangu. So. It's just a good engagement. I feel like Outlaws weren't really ready. They were a little slow on the mark with this window. Just had their front line run over. In this match, is the Orisa comp better than the thing? So this isn't really the Orisa comp that I'm talking about. This is like a brawl Orisa comp, not a, like, poke/dive Orisa comp. And it's kind of thrown on the head. We've seen recently that on 2CP, sorry, not 2CP, on Control and King of the Hill, the Winston and the speed that you play is generally determined on, like, the positive aspects of your composition. So that's why Mayhem is playing this very rush-heavy style of playing Winston Moira. Angie, thank you very much for the 10 months. Much love, much love. So the Outlaws are just trying to get as much distance as they can, right? The Mayhem being able to hold the choke gives them such an enormous advantage with their comp. Unfortunately, they think they overcommit with this right now. So they go in with the Primal and the Diva Bomb of the copy. So it gives them this massive advantage. Dante copies the Moira, and I don't know if this is intentional. No, he was definitely going for the Diva on that one. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. It's actually kind of crazy he didn't lose form. Oh, he should have thrown an orb before he pressed that. Oh god. Yeah, so that was a lot of ults by Mayhem to win that fight though. So it's a good win by Mayhem, but it did cost them a lot. They have Diva Bomb and Beat still, but Outlaws should have an advantage here with their Reaper ult, with their Bongo. Yeah, with their Bongo, so. It's not his fault. Hey, people make mistakes, people miss, all that kind of stuff, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Bongo value wasn't great. Beat. Dante gets picked by Yaki. Where's Dante? How does Dante get isolated here? So Dante goes behind. So Yaki gets the beat, but he doesn't get the Outlaws beat, so he just goes down from there. Oh, OG goes a little hard in the paint there. This is great value lamp, right? Hard counters a lot of what they're doing. Diva Bomb gets Juby. This is pretty bad for the Outlaws so far. Great pull on the Gangnam Jin. I don't think it's going to get them anything though. What would you say the difference between Rush and Brawl? I would say the biggest difference between Rush and Brawl is Moira and Baptiste. Moira is very Rush. You are playing to overrun the opposition, and that's how Moira generally plays. You use your crazy amount of healing that you can output to just overwhelm the opposition. I think Brawl is more indicative of Baptiste, where you're wanting to sort of stake your claim and take a long extended fight with the healing, with the lamp from Baptiste. You want to play aggressive, but your win condition is not 100% all in. You have a lot of poke, you have a lot of that kind of stuff. That's where the Orisa comes in. That's where the Sigma came in with their Brawl style. So that is what I define the difference is. I think some other people would have different of opinions on that kind of thing. It's a very loose term that's sort of been muddled over time. So Piggy goes to point, throws the bomb. I don't know if that's going to be good enough though. Gets Slime of all people. Wow, Piggy does a great job of staying alive here. Yeah, it does a phenomenal job of staying alive. Great hold.
Cease your resistance.
Okay, Bongo doesn't get much value from Dreamer again. He's gonna be careful. That's the second Bongo he's dropped that's just instantly died.
Wobble, motherfucker.
Leo Donuts, thank you very much for the 2-month Prime sub. Much love. So Yaki makes the copy over to the Reaper. Mayhem are committing a lot of ultimates to this fight right now.
Wobble, motherfucker.
Just kind of, everyone's trying to like solve the problem, right? Prex Grants, thank you very much for the gifted sub to Scrabble. Much love. Thank you for the gifted sub. Piggy is currently my thought for Rookie of the Year. I could see that. I think Piggy's had a great rookie season so far. I don't know if I would say Rookie of the Year when you have players like Shy in the game. I think Shy has just been absolutely phenomenal though, so I don't know, it's hard. Do you think someone could take Lee J Gon's role in the Dragons? Maybe. Lee J Gon's had some pretty bad play. Like, Lee J Gon is very up and down, but he's had a lot of undefendable mistakes over the last, you know, the playoffs in the grand finals last year and like in the Melee. He's had some really bad errors, and if he can't get a handle on that, it's going to be a problem. It's, in my opinion, the same thing that exists for FD God. Like, FD God, there's only so long FD God can get it. He's obviously incredible, and we know he is, but the biggest problem with FD God is he just keeps making big mistakes. Like, big team fight losing mistakes, like, from time to time, and that's something that we praise Moth for so long, is those mistakes don't happen that much. And as a main support, it's so crucial that you don't make these mistakes. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. They're both great players. They both have great mechanics, but they need to be able to rein in so that they don't make these big mistakes time and time again. And even, like, I think both of those players have said that themselves. They're like, I haven't been playing that well. I've been making mistakes and stuff like that, so. Yeah, there are some good options, especially for a Chinese roster, Korean Chinese roster. Like, there are definitely a lot of great main supports in in NA. I don't think FD God's in anywhere near as much trouble as Lee Jae-gon is, because obviously he's only been a main melee and he had some really high highs. But you sort of know what I mean when I'm comparing those two. Yeah, and that's it. Like, they're not gonna. Shock's not gonna replace FD God. That's not what I'm saying. I would say Lee Jae-gon has had a much longer sample size, and he's been in the game for a lot longer. So that is why I think that's a lot more reasonable of a take. But I was sort of comparing, like, making similarities. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're talking about the two of the best main supports, exactly, right? Like, yeah. These guys have a very storied history and stuff like that, and they are great. So as I said, I don't see Shanghai getting rid of Lee Jae-gon. I think that'd be an extreme measure. I think I could understand it if we get to the end of the season and Lee Jae-gon is still doing the same thing. They get another main support, but I don't see him getting replaced in the middle of the season. Oh, Gangnam Jin goes down on the Coalescence. Juby doing a good job of staying alive. He's in a lot of trouble though, yeah. Oh wow, Juby did a great job of staying alive here. Gets bled down over time, but yeah.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Diva.
I was really surprised Dante committed this copy, but the copy was actually so good. Happy comes back on that. Gets the Diva Bomb in a good spot.
All systems checked out.
That was a really good copy by Dante in the end.
No.
It's interesting to see a ball with no tracer. I don't like it. And I honestly think it's a really bad decision. I don't think Wrecking Ball can do anything because there is literally no follow-up. It just feels like he's rolling around his own. Especially in an Echo meta where Echo just does so much damage to someone like Wrecking Ball. I don't really like Wrecking Ball in this meta. It's kind of the same reason I don't like Winston that much. There is obviously times in which it can be valuable, but... And I think, you know, Cop is some of those, but... Like, look at that slam, right? Like, he slams, but, like, they just heal up pretty much instantly. And then what does he do from there? He's just kind of like a bullet sponge. What makes ball tracer so valuable is every time the ball slams, the tracer can follow up and shoot somebody, right? The slam makes people so vulnerable, and his gun is actually valuable if he has somebody to pair with it. But other than that, it's just tickling people, right? Mayhem's having to play so aggressive to try with this Lucio Moira, right? They're trying to close the distance. I feel like I don't like that. I don't know if I like the Ashe Mercy here on this point, because what seems to be happening is Mayhem just keeps running the point and like forcing them to go, and then they have so much sustainability that they can't get enough damage out. Like, they're not getting picks enough with the Echo and the Ashe. Like, they really are relying so heavily on picks. What do you think about the Reaper Echo comp? It seems to be very popular in the East. I think on point, if you're playing this style, where you're playing this like very rush heavy style of Lucio Moira, I like it. If you can find a way to enable your Reaper, I think it's quite good. But I think if you can't do that and you end up playing this sort of like poke comp with like Orisas or just like from distance, the Reaper just becomes useless. And we saw that in the Philly match, right? Where Philly are trying to play this Reaper, but it's not good on that point or in that situation, so... How does Juby die first?
I'm with you.
Oh, is this when BQB's just like behind him? Yeah. And look at how fast Mayhem are playing this tempo with this Coalescence, with the Diva Bomb, with the Lucio just running at this and at Houston. And it's really hard for Houston to do anything in this match right now. Their backline literally, every time the front line gets close, the backline just fucking runs at them. Dante does again. Isn't APAC playing it with Dive? Yeah. Who do you think were the best Echoes this week? Naga and Pelican. from the main ones I watched. I haven't watched a ton of these, but I would say Naga Pelican. I heard Leave had a pretty crazy tournament. Dante was very good as well.
Systems in overdrive.
I haven't watched Leave play yet, so once again, look at this tempo change by Florida Mayhem. This was a misguided one, right? Because Outlaws were so ready for this. They knew this was coming. Crimson actually lives for a really long time. And Houston take the point, which is the bigger thing, right? They take the point with their front line.
Reaper. Adaptive circuits engaged. Diva.
So they're doing a good job of living through this fight. Piggy fucks this up. Piggy should know better than to do that. But then he hits both of the backline. How does he kill both of the backline? Do they both think they're safe under here? Oh yeah, just gets low enough to hit them both. Such a crazy bomb by Piggy. Alright, so Crimzo and the Moira. I actually like Crimzo coming back on the Moira. I think it's a great play. BQB gets happy, but then they get him. So I want to look at this back. How the fuck did they lose this? Not CPT, Rick, thank you very much for the 2 months. So OG comes in. So Outlaws have Moira Soldier, which is unideal.
I finished them off.
Yaki goes McCree for whatever reason. OG dies for free. Slime dies for free. I honestly think Dreamer fucks up here. I don't know why Dreamer does this. He dies for free. Like, literally no reason to die. They just need to consolidate on the point. And then Dante gets overconfident in the air, and Yaki just murders him. BQB gets a really good ult off, and gets everyone so low, but then Yaki just kills everyone. It honestly, I think a lot of this goes back to Dreamer. He opened the door, right? If he just stays on the point, like, he could have done so much to displace a lot of the people. So,
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
yeah, I feel like a little mistake, but also just, I'm sure Mayhem just missed a couple of shots, and then Yaki came out and just hit a bunch of shots. So, you gotta take the good with the bad, right? Like, there was, I think it was just a couple of individual mistakes that really cost them a lot. Metro's Man, thank you very much for the fresh sub. Welcome to the fam. Why Dreamer over Django? I don't really know why we saw so much Dreamer over Django. I don't think of Django as like a Ryan one trick, but yeah, I don't really know. Yo, Drew, thank you for the 16 months. Did you do APAC already? I've done a couple of games from APAC, yes. I'll be putting it on my YouTube if you want to watch. Watch Dante Pov? Alright, I'll trust. So here we're gonna see the changes. So this is something that if you haven't watched the games that you need to take note of. The jersey is a thing now. So it was interesting when Danny asked Jake about what the reasons of why he is playing over Juby. Jake was pretty lackluster with words, which is very unlike Jake, but maybe he just didn't want to talk about their strategy or whatever it was. But Jake will never play Mercy, which I think is fair. Sorry, Jake will never play Lucio. He's just, that's so hard to get his. It's so hard to learn, and he's just has such a long way to go. But I also think Mercy is somewhat difficult to learn. We saw Jake play Mercy against the Atlanta Reign in their match. It wasn't great. So he definitely has a lot of learning to go. I know he's been putting a lot of work into it, and it looks fine. It's serviceable for sure, for the most part. But he obviously had that one bad map. So I do worry, and I wish I could see and understand it a little bit more of why Jake is playing over Juby, because I think Juby's Mercy is fine. But maybe it's the idea that they might want to play Brig at some point based on the meta. So Juby gets a break. I don't think it has anything to do with burnout. I think splitting time is worse for rookies and just giving the rookies more game time, giving them more stage time is better in the long run. So this, and here's the, people also said comms. It could definitely be comms. It could definitely like be that they like having Jake in on the comms. My problem with this is this feels like one of those situations which is fine until it isn't, right? While they're winning, it seems fine. It's like the San Francisco shock effect when they put Violet on McCree. It's great when it's working, but as soon as it stops working, you have to start asking questions of, would it have been better to keep Juby on Mercy? Is Jake going to keep improving at Mercy to the point that he needs to? He's a smart player, and a lot of playing Mercy is about just playing smart. So, I don't know. I'm a little worried in the back of my mind about how this whole support with Jake and Juby thing is going to last over the long term. But for right now, it seems fine. So, that's fine. I also have the same question about Dreamer and Jangu. What is the why are we playing Dreamer and Jangu? Jangu played so well on so many different heroes. Why does it feel like Dream is sort of getting forced into the lineup on this new sub? I don't know. So that becomes the question. And time will tell. All right, GX, thank you for the 100 bits. Gabby Chaplin, thank you for the 7 months as well. Someone asked Django in his stream and he said he doesn't know why, but Dreamer has really good English. Interesting. I wonder if they were having issues with Django not understanding the communication as much. Could definitely be a thing that they are struggling with. Which is also kind of weird, yeah, that Dream is playing from Korea. Houston's played great in this second series, and they do beat the Mayhem, and that's great, but it just doesn't sit right, you know?
Thank you very much, Money.
It just doesn't feel right. So I'm being a little concerned, and I don't want to raise concern for anyone else, but just keep an ear to the ground about it all. Hype train, time do you mean Corgi train? Yo, thank you for the 100 bits, Shockbait. Dreamer is trilingual in Thai, Korean, and English. Yeah, like I know Dreamer has pretty good English, so. Until they start losing, it doesn't concern me. But that is a dangerous prospect to have because there's a lot of teams that have played under that guise of, it's not a problem now, it'll be fine, until it does become a problem. So, we'll see. We'll see how they do.
Hello.
So.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I actually, I had this conversation as well. Behind the scenes of, imagine being KSF or Hydration as well. Like, Jake is a great player, right? But imagine being KSF, Hydration, and you are the bench player for this team as flex DPS players, and Jake is getting subbed in for support, but then also gets subbed in to play Junkrat on Anubis and stuff like that. And it feels like they're going and putting a lot of resources into Jake, but not their other players. So I worry about that dynamic for those players and who feel like they're not getting a given opportunity to play. So Hydration can play Junkrat, right? KSF can play Junkrat, probably not to the degree of Jake, but you know what I mean, right? Like, it feels like there is a lot of weird choices being decided with this like player coach, and I hope it's not a ticking time bomb. I think they understand that the Junkrat was a bit of a fan service, but that's a bad precedent. Okay, like, and here's what I'm saying, right? Imagine being KSF or Hydration and you're signed to this team to play DPS and play the thing, but you are never given the opportunity and you get actually benched behind somebody who is supposed to be a player coach who is also supposed to, like, is kind of playing the support role to play the Junkrat, right? That's sort of what I'm saying. So, the Houston are playing great right now, and they have a litany and an enormous amount of talented players on their team. I just know I've been on teams where resentment and that kind of stuff starts to grow over time. And when they're successful, it's fine, right? As long as they keep winning games, no one gives a shit. It's like the San Francisco shock effect. They do a lot of weird shit, but as long as they're winning, no one cares. That works until it doesn't. And as soon as you stop winning, that's when these things become bigger issues. How common across esports is a player coach? Not very common at all. Not very common at all. And that was always the question when Jake became a player coach of. I always knew he was going to lean towards one or the other. This is just a spitballing. I think they have enough issues. They have enough issues with main tanks and supports flipping around that they're going for someone they don't have to put more resources into. Exactly. Like, I agree. But I've always been very vocal about teams that switch players a lot. Who switch players into roles, into positions, and that kind of stuff, because it works in the short term, but is not unsustainable. And I think a team that you can talk about with that kind of stuff is the San Francisco Shock. Especially early on in seasons, they're very liberal with who they switch around, who plays what role, who does what. And usually the individuals aren't the one that struggles, but the team struggles. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the changes look really bad. And I think San Francisco Shock in the main melee is a good example of that. If they're switching all their players around and it's fun and it's interesting and that kind of stuff until they get knocked out and they lose a couple of matches and that kind of stuff. And then it becomes frustration, right? So is that why Sideshow said Houston might be the front runner for implosion in NA? Maybe. Like, I don't know when he said that. I didn't think they'd be doing as much switching as they have been. There's been a lot of switches and back and forth. Obviously, they've had some weird shit happen. But as I said, this kind of stuff just doesn't sit well with me over a long form of time. So I'm just a little concerned about them because I actually really like Houston. I'm actually kind of a Houston fan now. But I've seen this stuff happen. I've been on teams where this stuff has happened, especially when you have issues like where you have mixed rosters and players feel like they're not getting heard because they can't speak English as well. How is their translations going? Is that creating friction between teams? Because those kind of issues, as I said, once again, cultural differences, language barrier differences, all that kind of stuff, it is completely fine until you start losing games. As soon as you start losing games and you start going on a downward spiral, those things start becoming much larger issues that can't be easily covered up with success. Who you personally rooting for in the league behind Houston? I'd say like Chengdu, Houston. Gladiators. I would say those are the teams that I like. Because they don't have a translator, and that becomes a thing, right? Like, if they don't have a translator, then as I said, it's fine not having a translator until you start losing. And the Korean players feel like they're not being heard and stuff like that, right? Yeah, like Junkrat speaks Korean, so it's like I think that puts a little bit of a band-aid on the solution. So. Better be rooting for Crib. I'm always rooting for Crib. What do you think of the Gladiators prospects? I think they're gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a good meta from them, from what I'm looking at. Kevster Echo. Here's what I'm thinking. Kevster Echo, Birdering hit scan. It's a good time. Alright, let's get back to this game. Sorry, as I said, I went down a little bit down the rabbit hole with that one, but I hope you guys found that interesting in some capacity. This is when Happy be fucking on the Hanzo, and I actually really like the Hanzo. As much as I talk about we don't like the Hanzo, I don't like the Hanzo in a Winston dive setup. If you were going to play this double shield with high damage with a Baptiste, I actually really like the Hanzo. Just because of how much damage they can put out. And Happy's a fucking nutter, so that also helps. Dante's copy was so clutch. Alright, let's have a look at this. Dante's just insane. Yeah, Dante's just a phenomenal player, right? Oh, wow. Oh, he got it as well. He's so good. He's so fucking good. God, Dante's so good. Dantelius plus. He makes it look so easy, yeah.
Cease your resistance.
I love the bongo timing as well. The bongo timing is perfect. Just absolutely murders them. Slime uses the rally to help, but like literally, like it doesn't even matter. Game volume is a little loud. God damn it. We can't win. Cannot win.
The payload has reached the chamber.
Happy is so good too there, and that's it. That's what makes their DPS duo so good, right? There's the window. Happy kills Yaki just somehow. Don't even know how. Bongo is destroyed by Pally. The damage was done by the Bongo there already, though. Here comes the Genji, yeah. And we'll talk about that when we get here. Dragon's very good. Good lamp by Gangnam Jin. Smart they didn't try and leave as well. There's a lot of people that try and like, they're in a dragon, but they're in a lamp, so they try and run away from the lamp. To run away from the dragon and walk out of the lamp and die, so actually smart by Gangnam Jin.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Good flux. That gives them pretty much all the space, so they should have maximum control over here. Just playing out of their mind. Yeah, they have great individual players, and they've been playing so well. So how do they lose this? That becomes the question. Why is no one shooting at OGE? I don't know why they let OG just go to the point for free there. They still got him. The flux is good. Unfortunately, the flux gets cancelled. So I gets another rally. Dante and Piggy going down, and that's sort of it. No, I haven't watched Paris yet. We've only watched the East game so far, other than this one.
Greetings.
I'll watch that on YouTube. Yeah, I'll be putting those games up on YouTube. I'll be putting one up after the stream, and I'll be putting another one up tomorrow morning. Air through here. It's getting hot in here, right, bro? All right. This is where I thought my hopes and dreams were over. This is where I thought it ended. I want to watch this from Dante Pov and sort of understand why the Genji is happening. Because I don't understand what the idea behind, like, I would much prefer just like a Reaper than a Genji. Like, I feel like Reaper is just better. If you do want to play this style and you don't want to play the Echo, going back to player coach situation, it used to be very common in Rocket League until someone realized they needed an outside view. There's still some teams whose coaches have a sub role though. This is something that happened a lot, and this is how early Overwatch used to function, right? Is no one, like, people had coaches, but really they were managers. The coaches didn't really do much, and all the teams were team run and player run. But one of the biggest issues of having someone who is a player but also as a primary coach role is you are biased towards yourself. Always. The point of coaches, head coaches, analysts, all that kind of stuff is having an outside view that is completely unbiased, because if you've ever done a VOD review in a team of any situation before, every player is always more focused around things that revolve around them and less around the team, and they will always come up with solutions that are built around themselves. It's just the nature of how humans are. So that is why coaches are so important, because they are impartial to the discussion. All they are trying to do is get the team to win, and that is why it's so important to have coaches who have control rather than having players who are in control. And I think there's a couple of teams that exist in the Overwatch or have existed in the Overwatch League where they are player run and they are player controlled, and you can see the issues essentially devolve because some players have more control over the team than others. And also when things start going wrong, that player has more control and they are never the problem. So that is the difference, right? I'm not saying that exists with Houston. I don't think that's what's going on with Jake, but that's my idea about player coaches and stuff like that in esports and stuff. Because that happened a lot in early Overwatch. Because, like, Jake's obviously not the head coach. He's kind of just like a player coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just acting as a player who gives a lot of feedback, right? But I assume he would have been like that in earlier Houston Outlaws as well, so. Oh, good. Alright. Yeah, I think Envy was, like, Internet Hulk was that as well, right? Envy had some issues and Internet Hulk was the coach, essentially, so. If anyone had a problem with Internet Hulk. This drag is so good, by the way. Here is one of the saddest things ever. How do they not kill Yaki before Yaki kills Happy? Like, Happy, if Happy doesn't die here, this is that's almost like a no-rec. He even thinks he killed him. But then Yaki gets the fan the hammer. If Happy stays alive, they probably just cap here. They cap with time. Good rally by Slime, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Happy's player cam was like, what? Yeah, it actually looked like it was a no-reg. Yo, what's up, people? How long has Dante been on Genji? About 2 minutes now. It ain't going so hot. Would Happy alone really outdamage the rally? He would give them damage and it has potential to cap out. For sure. If he just hits that first shot, they have a lot of control and he has a lot of damage.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
Marcus-san, thank you very much for the Prime Gaming sub as well. Welcome to the fam. Do you know regs happen often in our games? They didn't used to in the LAN environment because when you're playing on a high-tick server with no ping, no regs don't exist. Like the game thing. Those are built on ping, but because we're playing with ping issues and stuff like that, they do happen. It's taking forever to do it, yeah. Like, and here's my problem with Genji. If you're not going in, this is what happens. Like, it just feels like Dante is running 100% of the time, right? I don't even think Dante's a bad Genji. I just don't understand it. I would much prefer to see an Echo. Even like something crazy like a Junkrat, right? Like, just go something with like high spam ability. So he goes in and like he knows like he's not trying to do anything. I'm surprised they try and flux him because I think it was fine. They're just he doesn't get any value with the blade, but the space that it provides is enormous, and then the flux after that is insane.
You're making this easy for me. Team kill.
How do you play Brig with double shield? I don't like Brig with double shield. I don't know why Jake is playing Brig. My guess is when Dante switches off Echo, Jake wants to play the Brig. Some teams have made it work. Like, obviously, the Brig is good for the Mayhem because it counters the Genji. It counters... Well, he hasn't been Wrecking Ball for that long. I don't really like Brig and double shield, especially when there's a lot of spam damage. I much prefer the Mercy, but I think the game kind of, like, flipped on its head a little bit here. Jake died a lot on Brig this map. Well, it's just because Brig's not good in this situation, right? You literally can't do anything. Because you can't get close enough to get Inspire uptime, and you can't get whip shots through shields. So it just feels like you're just like standing there throwing packs out on cooldown. You don't like Brig and double shield? I don't like double shield. Yeah, well, one of them's... Double shield's good, though. Brig in double shield is bad. But yeah, I agree. No one really likes double shield. I think it's not a fun thing. And that's why I was so surprised that everyone got so pissed off about this 5v5 thing. Is like, I feel like it's the best solution to solving the double shield issue. Because the problem is they can't buff Sig or Orisa too much because it just leans into that double shield. And I don't know what the solution is without making the characters just trash. So. Imagine the Overwatch community being happy about anything. Delete Orisa? Yeah, but they're not going to do that, right? And that doesn't solve the overall problem of can we just not give heroes good shields then?
Executing flight maneuvers. I'm taking care.
If 5v5 your tank feeds now, you defo lose. In any game, in 6v6, if your main tank feeds, you lose. Like, that doesn't change anything. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic of the game. Yeah, of course, there's more accountability because it's 5v5 instead of 6v6, but as in all of these games, if one of your players feeds, you're generally going to lose at the highest level. This attack is really hard to watch. Yeah, this is an interesting one, so we're watching from a bit. Okay. God, Dante Echo is so good. He's so talented and handsome. I like that there's still Winston D.Va. I think we'll see a lot less Winston D.Va going into next weekend than we saw. I think there'll still be some, but I don't think there'll be anywhere as near as much Winston D.Va as we've seen in this weekend. Why did teams stop running Zen in double shield? Because Zen is currently banned in hero pools. If people could run Zen, they would be double shield Zen Mercy or double shield Zen Bap or something like that, right? What was OGE doing there when he got caught out by Dante? He's just trying to take space. And this is the hardest thing, and this is... I said this in my meta report on my YouTube video, if you guys watched that. The problem with Winston in this meta, and the reason I think Winston is falling out of favor, is for this exact reason. It is impossible to take space as a Winston against Ashe, Echo, Mercy, especially with how much BAP's being played, double shield. How do you walk forward? How do you take space against this? Like, let's watch from OG's perspective, right? He's trying to do something, right? He's trying to take space. He gets halted. He starts walking up. He has to get nanoed to take any space, and then even then he's just like, he doesn't even really do anything. He's just trying to survive. Compared to an Orisa who can use the fortify, use shields, all that kind of stuff. Like, look at this. He's trying his darndest. But as soon as he shows his face, he has to leave. He then primals. Look at this. It's hard. It's hard. It's really hard to play Winston in this meta right now. Usually the Winston is good against these kind of things because when you go in, you also have a Tracer or a Sombra or somebody else creating a pressure from a different angle at the same point of the dive that relieves pressure from the Winston. Unfortunately, Echo doesn't really do that for the most part. Echo can't go that deep. Echo's a great diver and a poker, but not as hard of a dive as the Winston, Tracer, and Sombra are. So the Winston actually doesn't really have a whole lot of support, especially if you're going to play this Mercy Ana style. Neither one of these supports can really help you once you're dove in. So that is the weaknesses of the Winston right now, I think, in this meta. What about double bubble? Xayah is very isolatable in a double bubble setup, but also Xayah does not enable the dive. Even in last meta in the main melee, we saw people go towards D.Va instead of Xayah, because D.Va's just more consistent. Xayah has great damage. If you can enable, get energy, be able to stay in a linear style, Xayah is great, but it doesn't happen that much. It's hard to get energy, and it's easy to be isolated after you use your personal bubble. If you use personal bubble, you're so susceptible to death. Is Echo a mix between Tracer and Genji in a way? Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great way to put it. Especially with the way that copy works, it works very much like Blade. I'm going to do pick'ems later in the week. I am going to, after this review though, I'm going to look at the Overwatch 2 AMA that happened today on Reddit, I believe. So we're going to go look at that after this review. So Nano Winston in gets Crimzo. I think this is a big nade from, yeah, look at this. How does this even happen? It was Resident Sleeper? Alright. I'm getting mixed results from you guys, but yeah, we'll have a look at it. We'll make our own opinions. I don't understand how that nade hits 3 people. What the fuck is Crimzo doing that close? And how do they not have a single shield down? Oh, that nade is nasty. Dreamer gets low. Crimzo tries to step up. Look how much space. Like, talking about how it's hard to get space. Look how much space they just get on the back of that nade. Nano OG just lands on them and kills them all. What's the ideal meta or playstyle right now, generalizing across all maps? If I was saying right now, generalizing across all maps, I would say the meta is Echo, McCree, Orisa, Diva, Ana, Mercy. That is what I would say the generalized meta is right now. The dragon wasn't great. Dragon's really hard to get value from in this meta right now. So actually, I forgot. Alright, so let's have a look at this. No Sig. Sig can come in for the Diva. I think there's definitely times in which Sig is good. I think Diva's better. I don't know. But that's my first look. So Jake gets in and gets a res. Which is really big because he gets it onto the Orisa that gives him the space. And Dante's just be fucking. And he's about to get the copy. The copy is going to be an enormous change for, and they get the baby. I don't know. Oh, boy. BQBs, it feels like Mayhem is very disjointed in this setup right now, right? Like, the Diva's pushing over here. The Hanzo and Mercy are over here. I don't really like the Hanzo, like, too much if they're not going to play shields of their own. I honestly just think OG needs to play Orisa. If they played Orisa, it would feel a lot more synergized, but right now it just sort of feels like half of them are diving, half of them are playing slow. Dude, Dante is actually pounding. So now that smart call by Houston, they just consolidate on the point. And, like, think about it. Mayhem lost that fight with an opening pick of 2 people on their nano. And somehow it didn't come together for them. So something is definitely going wrong. The nerf to Immo was negligible as a bat player. Really? I actually think the nerf to Immo was actually very felt. I don't think it solves the underlying issue of giving immortality. But I definitely notice it a lot more where, like, if you put down a lamp, like, it's not going to save anyone, really, if the lamp goes on to break. Alright. On to Dorado.
Ready for battle.
Why the Hog Diva? I actually talked about this a little bit earlier in another review where I actually think if someone's gonna play the Hog, I actually think there's a chance that Hog is meta. And nobody's just touched it, right? Like, nobody's been Washington and been like, fuck it, let's play Roadhog. Going into it, there were 2 teams that we thought might do it. San Francisco Shock and the Seoul Dynasty, and we haven't seen either of those teams play. So, maybe?
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure teams have scrimmed it or at least tried it. Paris did it a bit, had success on it, but we haven't seen, like, anyone really try and commit to it, right?
5, 4, 3.
I bet SI not found. Shock plays Hog for a gifted sub, so I'm hoping, yeah.
Attackers incoming.
Super's been playing Hog a lot. Yeah, but he would do that anyway in this current meta with Ryan banned because the only thing he would ever come into play over Smurf with Reinhardt banned would be the Roadhog. So I think he would be putting time into it and trying to work out how it works in this meta regardless of if he was going to play or not. Also, Hog's just fun to play. So, Hog Hopium, yeah. So we got Mayhem playing, in my opinion, the meta comp other than the Winston, but Winston's actually pretty good on Dorado. I think if there's a map in which you can make Winston work in some capacity, it'll be this one. BQB gets Dante. Good dive by the front line of the Mayhem. Oh, God. How deep is Slime? Oh, Jake with the insta-res. Love it. So they get the advantage from the kill on Yaki. Excited for Mayhem offense? Yeah, I think we're just going to watch BQB on the offense, honestly. But we'll get there in good time. Look at that res. I'm so proud. Liz is a proud mum. So OG goes in deep. Happy gets murdered on the Widow. Feels like Florida are doing a good job of upping the tempo against the Widow, making sure they're taking like a lot of space. Not giving Houston the space, Happy the space to do a lot of work. Dreamer primaling here. I actually kind of like it. I didn't like it at first, but if he recognizes that he can just punish OGE with it, I think you take those. Why go Ashe instead of Widow? Ashe is more consistent damage. The problem with Widow is if you're not hitting headshots and you're not getting picks, you're not really offering a ton. Ashe does a ton of overall damage. You just pump out so much damage because like your body shots do a lot more. Headshots are really good. Obviously, you have less ability to pick people on an Ashe, but it's still pretty good on Ashe. Piggy does it. Piggy does such a good job of living in situations where a lot of other divas would die. Cradicles, thank you very much for the Prime Gaming sub. Welcome to the fam. I appreciate the Prime subs. Easy subs. So we got a Bob on the point. We got a Valk by Jake. We got a copy by Dante going on to the Diva. Crimzo's fucking dead because Jake is ignoring him. What the fuck, man? Help Crimzo. Ooh, that's actually kind of bad by Jake. Only heal Dante. He like followed the Diva dive.
No one can hide.
Yeah.
Let me get you patched up.
I still would have healed Crimzo, but fuck it, you take it. That was kind of cool. If he should have gone for the res as well while he was in Valk. I think he could have got that res while he was in Valk.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Winston.
Where does it hurt?
His mechanics are okay. I'm curious to see. I think he uses the same mechanics. I think he uses the same thing as me. I'm trying to guess what his mercy settings are. Nice kill by Happy. He needs to help Crimzo. Dude, Jake doesn't give a shit about Crimzo, dude. I don't even know where Crimzo is from Jake's pub. Alright, nice heals by Crimzo. Oh, he could have gone for that res. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, Jake's, as I said, definitely serviceable. So I just wanted to give that a quick look for a bit. But Crimzo cares about Jake, yeah. Crimzo would never betray Jake. Jake used your sense because he knew after your fanfic bromance you should share something. Uses GA prefers beam target. No, I don't think he does use GA prefers beam target, does he? Does he? It didn't look like it.
Let's get you back out there.
I like this.
Hello there. This would have
It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's looking towards all his targets to GA. Let's see what he does here. Did he just... I'm not sure if he cancelled to GA there.
Executing flight maneuvers.
He doesn't seem like he... If he is using it... No, I don't think he is because he keeps looking towards people to jump to them.
You needed a doctor?
So that generally means that he's not using that. Good catch. Because that's one of the biggest weaknesses of not playing GA prefers beam target, is that you have to look at everyone that you want to GA to. I like it because I like being able to fly away from somebody while healing / damage boosting them. Because if you play with GA prefers GA target, you can't heal someone and fly away with them unless you like cancel your heal, GA away, turn around, heal, like start healing them again as you fly, and it's just fucking a clusterfuck.
Adaptive
So.
circuits engaged. Diva.
Good dive.
Nerf this.
Oh, sorry. Do any pros? Yeah, actually, I think it's actually. I'd actually be interesting to see which she's. A lot of the Korean Mercies and Moth prefers GA target. Like if you watch the way I play Mercy and the way Moth plays Mercy, very different by the way we look around the map. Because we both use different settings. God, Dante's doing a lot. Yeah, Dante does that. The Mothsy.
Time to raise my APM.
Murphy. I want to see how Nisha targets his teammates. Nisha plays like Moth, I believe. Nisha uses prefer beam target.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Helden sterben nicht.
Happy goes over. Oh, Jake lives. Happy gets Yaki, big plays. But what is GA? Guardian Angel, the thing that flies to a teammate. Yeah, but Nisha Mercy's fucking crack. I honestly don't know if one is better than the other. I honestly never really tried with GA on. It just hurt my brain to try and like switch up how I did it. Wow, they just got so much space off of that pick from Happy. Prefer GA, yeah, prefer GA, you can do some really crisp movement and also being able to look around the map and be able to do a bunch of cool stuff. You can definitely do a lot of cool shit with it, but I didn't like the trade-off of not being able to fly away from your targets cleanly. BQB gets Happy. I think Happy was feeling himself a little bit. Where was Happy? Yeah, I think Happy was feeling himself. Prefer beam on can fuck up my healing, yeah. Yeah, Happy just feeling himself a little bit. So, as I said, I don't think there's one better than the other. I think there's pros and cons for both. Like, just do whatever you feel makes you happy. If there is a difference, it's probably negligible. It's probably just playstyle difference. Dante goes in, gets a good... I do love Dante's copy. Also, Dante absolutely pounds here. Look at this copy. Look at this. Gets him. Mind games the nade. Oh, gets him. Clean. Oh! Come to the wrong neighborhood, slime. Welcome to Frowny Town. Boom! Oh, yeah. Sick. Good timing to find that. All right, good res by Jake. No, the Mercy after she dies, yeah, she's like hanging from the ceiling. They force out Gargoyle Diva Bomb as well, which is a really big difference. The fuck is that range? The drop of the Diva mech is actually quite big. You'd be surprised. So they're hard diving the backline in here. Good Valk. Should sustain them here. Yaki's copy was very bad. Slime gets caught on the Mercy. Jake should be able to get this Mercy res. Dude, Jake is just latched to Dante. Jake knows what the win condition is. If I just heal Dante, we'll win the game, right? Literally just following Dante around the map. Fuck it if it works. They must be doing, yeah, the Echo Mercy are doing it together. We know that. Comfy Potato, thank you for the 28 months. All right. Who wants to watch oh my god. Who wants to watch BQB fuck? Any BQB fuckers in the chat? Okay. Let's watch BQB. Comfy Potato, thank you very much for the 28-month resub. Oh, and Emong with the 2,300 viewer host. Thank you very much, Emong, for the host. What is up, everyone? We are breaking down some hour matches right now. Oh, he just makes it look easy. Do you remember when anyone used to hit a jump shot in Overwatch? It just was the most hype thing ever, and now people just do it as if it's just fucking like walking. Oh. And I wanted to say this before. Matt Mercell, he was in a channel with us when we were watching this game live. Up until about the last team fight, BQB has a 50% crit hit accuracy chance. Like, he hit a headshot 1 every 2 shots. Is he hacking? Yes. This is not normally. Check him setting. Which is crazy because he's missing so many shots. But then he's got to absolutely pound at some point. Alright, Happy gets the best of him. Happy's had enough. Alright, Houston get the hold on the first point. Alright, here we go. Oh! I think he was just about to catch that. He would have, I think he would have caught Happy there. But he was like 1 second, he left 1 second late. Hello, cuz?
No one can hide from my sight.
Bonk. I'm starting to not believe that Matt Mercell lied to me about 50% crit accuracy. He's got a lot of crit accuracy, but 50%? I don't believe it. It's beginning, yeah. Unless he's about to go on an absolute fucking tear.
Hello. Hello.
Widow's an OP character even in now. I think the health change was really good for Widow. Maybe said 15%?
Personne n'échappe à mon regard. Hello there.
Maybe 50% of his hits are 50, yeah, crits? Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah.
N'est-ce pas?
That probably makes sense, yeah.
No one can
That'd make
hide
more sense
from my
to the stat
sight.
lines. It's definitely not 50% shots, actually, now that you mention it. One word, nasty, dude. He just, like, gets pick after pick after pick. How does he see him? He must have just taken the shot. There's no way he reacted that fast. He must have just taken the shot.
Hello.
Check his map. That has to be a prediction shot of like, if someone's gonna peek, they're gonna be right there. There's no way he reacted to that, yeah. It's fuck you, Dante, that's why. What? Dude, he's insane.
Hello.
Check him settings. Not natural. Not normal.
Bonjour. Hello. Hello there.
The question raises, what the fuck is the rest of his team doing?
Payload moving.
BQB is a robot confirmed. Do you guys think BQB is the best Widow we have right now in the Overwatch League? We haven't really seen Shy play it that much. Decay, Carpe. I think BQB is more consistent than both of those players, though. Oh, Dreamers in Frowny Town. I don't know. I think BQB's up there. I think he might be. BQB's just lost now. Kai, yeah, Kai's very good. I'm sure it's just recency bias right now.
Comme c'est aimable de ta part.
Double kill.
He literally shoots as fast at 0.25 as I shoot at full speed. Oh, if he hits this shot, I'm gonna fucking cry. Dude, BQB is feeling himself right now.
Reversing personality module. Payload has reached the checkpoint.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Recency bias going off hard. See, here's my counterpoint to the idea of recency bias. I feel like a lot of people see the Carpes and they see the Kais and they have these crazy performances, one-off performances, and then everyone just like, they're the best Widowmaker in the game. But I feel like BQB is always very, very good. And I think he's just such a consistent Widow player. And that is why I think so, right? Like, I think Kai has some off games. I think Carpe has some off games on Widow as well, right? So, I don't know. I'm not hard sold that BQB is the best, but I don't know. I think he's got to be a part of the conversation. Consistency over carry? Well, the thing is, consistency in the carry, right? Like, because that's the thing is, like, just because you carry, like, 2 fights as Widow because you get, like, a 5k, like, the Carpe special, right, is that Carpe just, like, kills 5, right? Carpe has more 5ks than, like, any other Widowmaker to ever play the game, right? But I feel like Carpe does go missing from time to time on the Widow comparison to some other, like, to other Widows. It's Pine time? Hey, dude, we'll see. We'll see if Pine can fuck again.
Escorting the payload.
He won't play in June. I don't expect to see Pine in this meta, no. Don't you dare hit that shot. Ooh, Jake's playing with fire on that one.
Its destination.
Team! I killed 2 for free! Do it. Do a 360. Oh, the timing of the shield drop! Tragic.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Winston.
Did that sting?
60 seconds remaining.
Dude, BQB's actually playing Kovacs. Oh, this is the fight that they lose. Look at how dumb this shit is. Literally, their whole team is dead. So they just nano the wrecking ball. What the fuck is this shit? Where? Spin to win. Actually ridiculous.
30 seconds
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Then Piggy hard feeds. Should have stayed on the cart. What, Jake Lucio Pov? We want to get some Juicio Pov? Alright, so here we go. Here we go. Drop the amp. Amp. Okay. That's alright.
complete.
I think that is something we'll never see Jake play, like, legitimately. Unless he puts a ton of time into it. He's definitely into play the Brig Mercy. Like, Lucio just takes... Trust me, I fucking know. It's hard to pick up Lucio when you haven't played it before. So I don't expect to see Jake play it too much.
Ready for battle.
Hello there.
How do you rate Dreamers Winston? I think it was very good on Valiant. We obviously haven't seen a ton of it in this meta right now. But Kooky did it. Yeah, and then we went 0-7. What do you mean?
3,
It's because someone did it, didn't mean it was good.
Stop the payload.
Too soon? What do you mean? It's been 2 years. We gotta laugh, otherwise we'll cry. Have we seen any Orisa Diva? Not as much in this game. I think Dreamer played actually Dreamer has played a bunch of Orisa actually at times. They played it on Ike, I think. I think BQB should stay Widow here. We'll see. We'll see.
30 seconds remaining.
The problem with Widow is it is gamble, right? Like, if BQB just doesn't hit the shots on the first point with 1 minute to go, like, you just lose. I think you're better off with the consistent damage of playing the Ashe. I think it can't be understated as well how valuable it is defending first in a 1 minute versus 1 minute overtime push, because you have a massive advantage knowing exactly where the box is, because you can defend on that point. Like, you always have such a big advantage because you can control where the final needs to be. You don't understand. You don't. As the first team attacking, you just try and get it as far as you can. While as the second team attacking, you know exactly how far you need to go. But the defensive team can also stop you at that point, right? So, I actually remember this happening and breaking this down. So, Outlaws go first in the overtime push, and fucking Dante, man. I remember watching this live. This is the nano doesn't go very well. So he gets it randomly. It's a bit of a whiff, a bit of a struggle. Doesn't die though. Good pocketing, but don't worry. Where there is one whiff, there is another whiff. So it's funny because the nanos are the win condition for both of these teams, yet both of them just whiffed it super hard with their nano engages. And that is the argument against this Echo nano style, right? Is that Echo can just miss. And she can be isolated compared to a Winston, right? What would have happened if either of these teams had just nanoed a Winston into the point, right? So, and then Houston goes on to win from there, defensive advantage, so. Why not just try and melt the monkey? They go for the gamble, like, yeah, and that's the question, right? Why didn't they just isolate tanks instead of trying to like two-tap the opposition Echo? It's so easy to just miss that. Echo has higher peaks, Winston is more consistent. Absolutely, absolutely. It's good that Widow, Happy picked Ashe instead of Widow here. Yeah, and I think both teams have the same idea, right? Of Widow can be great to bust shit wide open, but it has the opportunity to just fall flat, and that costs you a lot.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
The real play... Sorry, I just poured water all over myself. The real play is still Nano Visor, trust me. Go ask Philly if the players to play Nano Visor. They Nano Visored like 4 times and got negative value out of every single one of them. I know this is a shocking revelation, but Nano Visor is still not the play.
Seconds remaining.
Stop, sad face. I feel like they just nano Carpe, regardless of what he's on. McCree, nano. Soldier, nano. Fuck it, why not? You'll be fine, you'll be fine, Carpe. You'll make it work. Torb, nano. Widow, that's a nano. So Florida's playing very passive, but obviously they're farming their tanks, right? What they're doing here is they're playing around their tanks, playing to nano, get the nano first, give themselves the advantage. Because we're at 30 seconds, there's one fight regardless of which side you're on. So OG's going in. And what do you think the chances are that they nano Gangnam Jin in? Oh, actually, no. Yaki goes aggressive. I remember what happens here. I don't know why Yaki gets caught on the floor here. I don't know what he's doing. He overextends his bounds, but he dies before they get the nano off. Happy obviously hits a great shot, but still, that's on Yaki. You can't you have to expect that's going to happen. They nano the Winston in for OGE, but the backline is just so ready for this. They disengage. They get slime, they get BQB, and from there they're in trouble. Crimson does a great job of keeping Jake alive. Jake gets a great res. And that's the ball game for the for Dorado. So score right now. It is about to be 2-1 to the Houston Outlaws. His wings were clipped. Very poetic. Pro Overwatch 2 punishing. That's what makes it great. And that's, you know, that goes back to the thing that I talked about with the Jake Mercy of Mercy is one of those heroes as well that you want to play aggressive, especially when you're pocketing an Echo. You need to follow the Echo, but it is very punishing. We saw Lee Jae-gun get heavily punished for it on the Shanghai Dragons. We saw a lot the day before for the Houston Outlaws. Jake got heavily punished on Junkertown against the Atlanta Reign. So it does give me a little bit of concerns if they are going to keep Jake on this with Mercy. As I said, it's definitely serviceable. It's definitely fine, but as you play against better teams and you come up against the best, it's so easy to just get two-tapped out of the sky, right? So, and that's what makes good Mercies good, right? It's very rarely their techs, their super jumps, their reses. It's usually how aggressive and how much value you can get without dying. Obviously, you can play a Mercy that very rarely dies, but you can get no value because you're not pocketing the people that you need to pocket. But, you know, that's what's impressive about Nisha, dude. Nisha's fucking cracked. He, like, lives inside the backline, but somehow still lives to tell the tale time and time again. And still gets every big res. And that's what makes, in my opinion, Nisha the best Mercy that we have in the league right now. Alright, time to go to map 4. No, it's not 2018. Jake's playing Junkrat. He's in your house. It's 4 a.m. All that good shit. The Jake Rat is coming through. Juby comes in to play the Mercy now. Well, as Houston's planned, if they lost A, I think you can play Junkrat on you can definitely play Junkrat on point B. Junkrat's, I would say, almost better on point B because Jake does a great job. The thing that I think makes Jake so good on Junkrat is he understands the win conditions of why he's playing like Junkrat. He knows the spam corners, he knows the angles, but he also knows the tire is used not to engage. The tire is used to turn the thing of a fight. Once they have map control, and you'll see him do that this big against BQB and Gangnam Jin later. Jake is a big brain. Jake's just a really smart player. Like, if you've ever heard him talk about the game, he's just a smart player. And that's why I think he'll be a great main support. Obviously, Lucio is one of the only mechanically heavy main supports that you have to play. So that's like why he's good at Brig, why he'll be good at Mercy if he puts the time in, right? When BQB shot the tire, yeah, we'll catch that when it happens. So here goes back to the idea as well of I really don't like BQB Hanzo if OG is going to play Winston. I would rather see OG play Orisa here with the Hanzo and the Echo and play this slow, except for the fact that the Houston Outlaws are playing double shield. OG literally cannot play Winston against this composition from Outlaws. He literally cannot walk forward. He's not going to be able to take any space. He's just going to die. They either need to play a rush comp with like a Lucio Moira, which we know they can play. Like he can play Winston, Lucio, rush with a Reaper. That could potentially work. Obviously hard against a Junkrat, but you can make it work. But I don't think their current comp right now functions against what the Outlaws are having because Hanzo and Echo are both poke heroes, right? But OG doesn't enable that. Gargoyle doesn't enable that. So their DPS are trying to do something completely different to their tanks. Their tanks are trying to take space while their DPS are trying to hold back. Outlaws have 2 shields to mitigate the poke from the Florida Mayhem, but also have enough damage to make it so that OG can't take the space. He can't jump onto the platform and get control. So therefore, their composition is counterintuitive to each other. And that is why you're just going to see stupid amounts of value coming from Dante or Jake. Just the amount of damage that they have that the Mayhem can't mitigate is just going to be too much. 2023 player coach cast the commissioner. Just keep adding to the list. To be fair, if Jake didn't get the 2K with the tire, I see this getting a lot closer. Absolutely. I do. Like, that can't be understated. Every time I talk about compositions that they can and can't work, we're talking about percentage chances, right? Like, when I'm saying I think the Mayhem comp's bad, I think they have a 20% chance of capping this point. I think with the composition that they have. If I'm just talking percentages out of my ass, I think with the composition they have right now, they have a chance. If BQB gets a pick, Yaki gets good damage.
Thank you very much for money.
Someone gets isolated. Easily doable, right? You can get the win. But it's lower chance, right? The win condition of the Outlaws is much easier to get value on, right? Undead streaming, David 200 bits. How's it going, Mr. Custa? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Reviewing some Overwatch. Enjoying the new meta. Having a good time. Thank you. When the teams find out the maps, they know well before going into the match. So, and here's the thing. So Mayhem has to use the nano to get into the point, right? Somehow Jake kills B. I actually want to see how this works. Where is this nade that comes from Jake? Oh, fuck that.
The pain is coming.
Anyone else hate Junkrat? Just me? Just me hating Junkrat? Okay. Just checking. Just making sure. Super hates him. It's just, it feels like Hanzo when you die to Junkrat, of like, it just feels like RNG. They just shot in your general direction and you just got unlucky. It's calculated, what do you mean? Jake had that perfectly lined up. And that's honestly how Junkrat is played. Like, Junkrat is literally about just like playing the odds, right? Shooting in their general direction. He's got the geometry down to a T. Doesn't even see BQB. He probably didn't even know BQB was there. I actually don't even think he was aiming at BQB on that one. I think he was aiming at the tanks on the platform. It's a good jump though. Like, look at that defensive jump. So you just see how, like, let's look at this from Mayhem. Let's look away from Jake for a second. So look at how aggressive Mayhem has to be and just how much damage they take, and it puts them on that timer, right? So for BQB to go up here and hold that position, he has to go aggressive. They do punish Dante, but obviously there's the counter dive. And OG is like literally negative useful. OG is 84% ult to a primal 2 minutes and 15 seconds into this round. Yaki uses the copy because he got caught out too aggressive. I think Gargoyle has 62% ult charge, right? They're literally, their tanks are not doing anything. And here's the problem. I honestly think their win condition is BQB has to kill somebody. That's their only win condition. I don't think Yaki can get kills against this composition very effectively. They're just relying on BQB to hit shots. BQB doesn't hit shots, then I think they just straight up lose. Dante gets caught again. How does Dante get caught again? Where's the mercy? Juby, where you at? Heal Dante. Dude, Juby, heal Dante. Alright, never mind. Or don't. Good bongo. It's just so much damage, right? That has the potential. Alright, here we go. And here's what I say about Jake, right? Jake has had the tire. Like, I'm gonna highlight this because it sort of highlights how smart Jake plays when he plays this Junkrat, right? So Jake has had this tire for a while. He had it the fight before that and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of Junkrats who, when we're walking into this fight, they would go, oh, they're engaging, press the tire, right? That, like, someone would be like, oh, they're coming in, press the tire now, and it'd be so easy for Mayhem to disengage and isolate the tire. The number of Junkrats that do that shit is really bad. Jake literally only goes for this tire after he sees that Dante gets caught. He's like, okay, shit, we're at a disadvantage, I'm gonna spam, and he pulls the tire knowing that everyone's gonna have to disengage. Instead of, like most people, running the tire down mid, hoping for gold that nobody knows how to aim, Jake goes, I know this is gonna scare the shit out of the opposition. They're gonna scatter. It's gonna give us time. Goes to Narnia. Actually goes to Narnia, in a place that no one's ever going to be able to find it, right? Or see where it's coming. They know where it's coming, but BQB, like, is just hiding. He doesn't even want to shoot at it. Look at this. Until he does, I don't know what he thought. The question becomes, do you think Jake knew that they were here? Because as much as BQB got himself killed, there's another problem here. Gangnam Jin's down here in the corner as well. So, not only did he get himself killed because he missed, he got someone else. He got Gangnam Jin killed, and that is what's going to turn this factor. There is a chance that I think Jake realized they might have been hiding over here, because when he turns this corner and looks over here and he doesn't really see many people, he might have thought, "Oh shit, where are they?" and turn around and found them. But I think it's more likely that it's only because BQB shot at it. But yeah, this is Junkrat Tire in a nutshell, baby. Gets the 2K, and that's all of a sudden everything that Mayhem cost everything for. Their Valk, their copy, all that kill on the Dante. Not only did he get the kills, here's Dante. By using the full extent and the length of Tire, Dante's already back in this fight. Comes back, peels for his backline, and gets a ton of damage in. OG is going to go super deep, but because they have an Echo, OG can't punish Crimzo as well. And OG eventually gets punished, right? Snowballing effect and cascading effect. I think Outlaws lose if Jake just tries to run this shit down mid and gets his tire broken, right? So, it is a great play by Jake. Good recognition of the win conditions of how to, like, turn this fight. Is Xayah the move? No. Xayah doesn't solve the problem. The problem that exists is their comp is counterintuitive to each other. As I said at the start of this half, is OG is trying to dive, but Mayhem's DPS are trying to poke. So OG is trying to dive and gets punished, but if OG doesn't dive and because he keeps getting punished, then he can't really take space. And because he can't take space, he doesn't apply pressure, which then means that the space doesn't really exist for BQB and Yaki, but then their win condition only becomes BQB and Yaki need to get picks, but they're fighting an uphill battle because they don't have space, right? And you can see how those things sort of conflict each other. So they either need to go more aggressive with the rush of OG on this Winston and the Gargoyle on the Diva, or they need to go slower and play more shields. Like OG plays Orisa, Gargoyle could play Sigma, and then they play the Ashe Echo with the Ana Mercy, right? Or Ana Mercy Bap or something like that, right? You see how all of a sudden those things complement each other a little bit more and creates more synergy. So Gargoyle gets forced to rush to point. Piggy actually just hard whiffs his flux, which could have been very punishing because Yaki kind of comes in and goes hard in the paint. But Crimzo gets slimed. Crimzo forces the copy. Yaki has to go into the Baptiste, which is generally just not a good time. Jake's playing this room, traps Gargoyle. Jake is just living in this room, just doing 1,000,000 damage. And that's the defense right there from Outlaws, right? But space plays for guides. God damn it, Quote. Dante loves Diva Copy. I think Diva Copy is the best copy in the game. Right, in this, sorry, not in the game. In this meta. I think it's the most consistent. I think you will almost always get a Diva Bomb, which will give at least some form of value. I think it is tanky enough that you're not instantly going to get knocked out of a thing. It can do damage. It can have defensive capabilities, all that kind of stuff. It's just the most consistent copy that you can do in the game. Monkey Copy is very good as well. Monkey Copy is good. I think you struggle with the idea that you can get slept. You know, we see a lot of Echoes just copy and then jump in and get slept because they can do that. There was some really good Ana copies. Here's the problem with Ana copies. There are some great Ana copies. I agree. There really are. There are also some really shit Ana copies where it literally costs them a lot because all of a sudden he's playing something, they either get instantly knocked out or they don't have anything to heal to get the nano and stuff like that. So, as much as Ana can be great, if you get the nano out, it can also just not do anything. And that's a good point as well by Michael Bay. I'm pretty sure that when your copy ends, so does your nano. So if you get at the very end of your copy, then the nano won't get value. So here we see, talking about how you break this, right? Mayhem's composition is essentially the same, right? As the Outlaws. They're playing the Ashe Echo. Instead of a Junkrat, they're playing the Ashe Echo, but it's kind of the same thing. They have a stupid amount of damage, especially with the Baptiste and the Mercy. Outlaws go for what I was talking about with the Lucio, the Moira, the Reaper. You overcome it by just running at them as a group. All you need to do is get close enough, right? They do a great job of getting in this room, recognizing, let's get in this room, let's do something. But here's what they do. They sell them on this. And this was actually fucking gigabrain by the Outlaws because I loved it when they did this, okay? So they run in here, knowing that the backline is going to rotate over here, okay, right? The backline's, oh shit, they're all gonna rush out of this door. This is gonna be a problem. Fucking Outlaws ain't doing that shit. They're smarter than that. They do a dive from main, which is going to make them, like, think like, oh shit, they're diving. Everybody, like, shoot at them and that kind of stuff. Don't dive or anything. But they actually don't go for a dive. They're actually running to go to the high ground. The only reason they dove here is so that their backline could walk through here for free. If they just tried to run this way without diving or like soft key diving, what would happen is OG would throw a pull, could cause problems, Gargoyle throws a rock, BQB throws a dynamite, there's a lot of problems. By fake diving, it gives them a ton of space and they get this high ground. All of a sudden, the backline of the Florida Mayhem have to reset their positioning, right? Okay, shit. Now we gotta go all the way over here. Their backline's now on the back foot because they're far away. Now, Outlaws fucking 5-head them again. And I don't know how much of this is calculated and how much of this is planned. A lot of teams would think they're going to rush the point. They're gonna try and take the point and they're gonna try and get ticks because that's the advantage and that's the objective. That's not what Outlaws want to do. Also, Dante's fucking stuck main, which is a big problem. But they're actually just gonna re-dive it because all of a sudden their backline's in an awkward spot. So they all of a sudden trade that pressure. Instead of going to point like a lot of teams would have, they actually just want to take a fight where they get a clean dive. And that's the clean dive right there. It becomes an all-out brawl at this point. The Lamp's very good. Jake dies to BQB, but OG goes down. There's a big trade. And their positioning. A lot of teams, once again, I think would have thought to go to the point, but I actually love this decision by the Outlaws. I think they understand that they can just outright win if they take this fight fast. Dreamer kind of hard fucks up this jump to follow Piggy in. But it works out pretty well. They're going aggressive. They have the Moira as well, right? So they have the damage. They have the brawl potential. Mayhem's winning this fight until somebody done goofs. I don't want to point fingers at who done goofs, but we're just going to watch this. Faster spawns by the Outlaws means they can consolidate faster. And from that, they just win the fight. So that's how you play these comps against these heavy damage compositions. The best way to do it is to maneuver around them to the point that you can close the shortest amounts of distance to get on top of them and play that rush. If you try and walk through main, they'll have too much damage. If you try and go the obvious direction, they'll have too much damage, and their backline will be prepared. You need to shift up the way that you approach the point, the way that you approach the fight. Otherwise, you're just going to run into the win condition of the Florida Mayhem. And that's what Mayhem did, right? Mayhem just ran into the win condition of Outlaws on their attack, and then they're hoping that Jake misses shots. They're hoping that Dante dies or someone feeds or that they get BQB hit shots. So instead of playing on reliant on individual mechanical skill and win conditions, and mechanical skill and individual big plays, they're relying on playing well as a team. And that's what makes Houston different, a different beast than we've ever seen them. So, and that's it. Almost flank no matter what. Got it. That is not what I said. But that's it. Houston Outlaws win 3-1 against the Florida Mayhem. Houston, I do get it. You need to give massive props to Houston. I think they did a great job of adapting from their Atlanta Reign match where they just kind of made a ton of mistakes with meta, with hero choices. Just poor play, honestly, against Atlanta Reign. Not taking away from Atlanta Reign looking very good, but Outlaws kind of shut the bed a little bit. But they did a great job of adapting going into this Mayhem match. Mayhem, I think, need to start playing more Orisa. It feels like they're still very heavily reliant on this OG Winston. But as I said, it feels counterintuitive, and it feels like if they're in a situation where OG can't take space, they're just relying on Yaki and BKB to kill everyone. Like, that's literally how the only thing that held them in Dorado, right? They didn't full cap Dorado on the back of, I think, great team play. I think it was just on the back of BQB just killing everybody on that Widow, which I don't think they can rely on. And that you saw on Anubis. BQB didn't hit the shots, BQB didn't get the kills, and they floundered from there. So I hope to see Mayhem bounce back. I think it could be a good meta from them if they do play more of this Orisa. And I want to see more Houston Outlaws. I think they've been playing incredibly well this season in general. So hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hope you found it interesting. Thank you very much for watching. Peace out. I'll see you soon.